Hey, guy. My beard! A monster from the sea, a threat to you and me, destroying the city with his atomic fire. He's the best of all, he will never fall. When he ever grows, the giant disengage, slice the big tail. He will never fail, he is giant scale, bigger than your town. We love Godzilla. Godzilla, give us Godzilla. He is Godzilla. Yeah. Oh, I didn't realize you were back. Sorry. Let's move past the change of facial hair. Anyway, so my last video, I talked about the new Godzilla movie, gave it a review. If you didn't see that, that's cool. You can go check it out after this or before this. You can pause this. I don't care. I'll put a link down below. But today, we're talking the original Gojira. Can you believe I got this for $11 at a store called Bookman's? This is the Japanese release as well as the American release. I have my notes here comparing them. So this is going to be a rare double review. Now, first let's talk about the actual movie I have here. This is the Masterpiece Collection. So it is actually got two different DVDs inside of it, which is very cool. You got the Gojira and Godzilla King of Monsters. Godzilla King of Monsters being the name of the original Godzilla movie in the United States. Then you also got the really cool booklet here, which the booklet has different things like stills from the movie, as well as like scene information, as well as a breakdown of the Godzilla franchise in it, which is really cool because it's the original Godzilla franchise, not the stuff from the 80s on. But enough about the actual packaging. Let's talk about the movies themselves. Now, I'm not going to be using a lot of footage from the movies. I'm going to be recreating some with some weird animations, so you're going to see some weird stuff. Sorry. First, the differences between Godzilla and Gojira. There are several differences. They do have the general same story. The general story being that Godzilla came and destroyed a bunch of stuff, and they were trying to find a way to stop it. And they tried, and they stopped it apparently. But then that wasn't the end of it. So, general story over. That's it. There is an overarching thing between both versions where what caused Godzilla to attack and be the way he was actually radiation from nuclear tests. making this actually kind of a political film at the time, because it was in the 50s, so it was a little bit after, like, not even like a full decade later, after the bombings on Bikini Island and Hiroshima. And, well, the Bikini Atoll, Bikini Island, whatever. Now, first, we'll go over how the Japanese Gojira starts off. It starts off really quickly, actually, where it's just a Navy ship sailing, and they're playing, and then out of nowhere, like, this weird, like, stuff starts hitting them, and there's, like, a flash of lights, and then the ship sinks on fire. And then, right after that, whenever they get the SOS, they send out a second ship to rescue it, which is also immediately destroyed with a flash of light and catching fire. When that happens, they call someone from a ship salvage crew, and he has to cancel his date. It's a romance thing to go help. Now, after all that goes down, they have an old man and like a village people rescue one of the survivors, and there's also these other fishermen that save another set of survivors. But they sorry, my hair's all a mess. They blame at least one of the old men. My cat's just sitting there. One of the old men actually name drops Godzilla as this old folklore creature that would sacrifice a woman to every year to appease. And then shortly after they talk about that, we attend an exorcism ceremony, a ceremony to end and get away the evil, which immediately is followed after by a large storm. Now, before the storm fully hits, we do actually have a Japanese helicopter that lands with different researchers and stuff like that to talk to the survivor and to look and see if they can find more survivors. Well, after the storm hits, we find out it's Godzilla. It's him destroying like parts of the village and the house, but all you see is his leg. You don't hear the roar, nothing like that. And then from there, we go and do a research thing with them coming out back to the island to investigate the island's destruction after everything happens. So we have different survivors that witnessed it, including a young boy whose family died in a house collapsing, which they made sure they showed. And they say it was a giant creature. So they go out and they find that the water on the side of the island is contaminated with radiation. They find that there's a giant footprint that's contaminated with radiation. And inside there is a trilobite, or trilobite. I don't know how to pronounce it. It's a ancient bug that has been extinct for centuries. Trilobite Games actually uses it as part of their logo. Then they go to a meeting where they do express that the nuclear explosion caused him to attack. They say that he was living down there and feeding on things down there, but then the radiation did something to him, and they pull it up, and they determine this because of sand they find on the trilobite. Trilobite? I'm just going to say trilobite, I don't care. They go to a professor who's working on a new weapon called an oxygen destroyer, which, if you saw the other review, you know is brought up in the new movie too, which, again, cool. But after they do that, and there's like this whole subplot of talking about what the oxygen destroyer could do, how if it got into the wrong hands it'd be evil, but yeah. Then Godzilla attacks the town. He starts just destroying everything again. This time you actually get to see full him at certain points where it switches between a puppet, a person in a costume, and stop motion animation, which is really cool. I wish I could show you, but I can't. Now, one big thing that people need to realize, the atomic breath that we know and see, this right here, the way we see it with the big blue blah coming out, wasn't possible at the time. It was a black and white film. And it was really early in the video editing the way that we were doing them back then. So this movie actually did a lot of stuff that they couldn't do before. So in this one, it's smoke breath that melts and burns things and causes things to explode. Awesome. Alright. So Godzilla continues to attack the city. The military attacks Godzilla, and you get to see like him getting hit. You can actually see the suit catching on fire at places. So this is probably uncomfortable for the person in the suit, but it works. I will state his face looks kind of derpy though. Then there's this really sad scene in the Japanese version that didn't appear in the American version at all, where this woman's sitting there with her 2 kids, and she's sitting there holding them as they're sitting next to the building, and they're saying that, the mom's saying that they're going to be with their dad soon. And they're just sitting there waiting for Godzilla to destroy them. And it's a very somber, kind of sad moment in a movie that was pretty much meant to be a horror film. I did not expect it. I did not expect it. It actually tugged at my heartstrings, because I haven't watched this version of the movie in a long time, so I completely forgot about it. But shortly after that, there's this tower where they're broadcasting all the news and stuff to do with the radios. There's also a big old school film camera, which is really intense to see. And they're broadcasting nonstop. And the broadcaster even states when Godzilla's coming to them that he's coming and he's going to destroy them, essentially. And he says goodbye as the tower gets destroyed, and they all follow their deaths. It's pretty crazy. Then they get Godzilla to go back in the water through different attacks, and him just getting tired, I believe. And they use the oxygen destroyer, which the professor that created it, because he only made the one and destroyed all of his plans, because this is before computers, so he just burned all the plans. Essentially, I believe. It doesn't show it, but I'm assuming that's what he did. He goes down there with it so that no one can ever reproduce it. And he uses it. And this is where the oxygen destroyer comes in. Why it upset me in the newer one. The oxygen destroyer, spoilers, even though this is a 60-year-old movie at this point, spoiler either way, the oxygen destroyer absorbs all the oxygen around it. So it makes the water placid. Any kind of creature like human, fish, Godzilla, whatever, it strips the meat off of it and turns it to just bones, because it just destroys it. And then the movie ends. That's how the movie ends in the original. Really, really well paced. Constantly just going, no meandering, no slow, weird dialogue and stuff like that. Everything that's in there is important to the story. All the dialogue is important to the story to continue. Then you get to the American Godzilla movie. Godzilla, King of the Monsters. The one that most people here in the States know and have seen. First, they added scenes with an American actor to make it more relatable to us. They even go as far as changing the beginning kind of oddly. It comes in with him talking and monologuing over destruction of the city with him underneath the rubble. And then it goes to a hospital, which was way later in the original Godzilla movie, Gojira. It was way later after the city got destroyed. This one, it's the very beginning, and he's in there, and they have this character, Emiko. Emiko's, I think it's the same character that did the romance with the guy that was in the rescue ship, but it could just be the girl in general that was like the love interest for one of the Navy people, because this is back when Japan still had like a military kind of force almost. But anyway, moving past that, and then the ships that got destroyed in the beginning of the Japanese version finally get destroyed in a flashback that is changed pace, and during the flashback they actually add Godzilla's roar to the destruction, which the original didn't have that. So it really messes it up a little bit, because the original one was a suspense. Like, you don't see the creature until they want you to. You don't hear the creature until they want you to. In this one, they just do the sound, so you know what the sound is automatically, which is kind of... Sorry about that, my camera died. Anyway, what was I saying? Oh yeah, the roar kind of ruins it. Anyway. Then there's weird changes that they did. Like, one, the receiver of the SOS message from the ship in the beginning was a female messenger. In the American one, it's a male messenger. I don't understand that change. I don't understand why that needed to change. Then there's also the change of what the SOS message itself is. In the Japanese one, it was literally just a standard SOS, like, we're in trouble. In the American one, they're like, oh, it's surrounded by light and fire and bubbling water. I'm like, what the... That's stupid. Let's see what we got here else. They also change when the survivors are found and rescued, and they kill them right away. In the original one, it doesn't state that they're dead. It just shows them pass out. But then, in this one, apparently they're dead. Because you can't survive Godzilla, apparently. They changed Emiko's romance. They're saying that she was married to a professor, but is interested in the captain that she was interested in the original one. There was nothing stated about her being married to the professor in the original one. It wasn't even implied. They just knew each other. And they also changed the introduction to the Odo Island, where the villagers were, where everything has changed like that. And they also changed the meaning of the ceremony. Now, they did bring up Godzilla in the ceremony, which in the Japanese version they brought him up earlier. They did bring up the sacrificing of the girl, but they didn't call it a exorcism ceremony in this one. They said it was just part of the ceremony for the sacrifice. It needs to be stated that that's a problem. All the scenes added with the American actor take away from the pacing. And not only that, but in order to make it make sense with the things that they're filming, they changed the order of scenes. They changed how things played out. They changed what people were saying. It's a great example to show two of the exact same scene, one with the American actor, one without the American actor, in the courtroom. They changed exactly what is said in the courtroom to fit what the American character was doing. They inserted him everywhere. Then you could tell when they did it, because like they shot it and they would show a scene from the original, which had a different quality video, and they would put him in an area where he was not interacting with anybody from that scene. And if they did have him interact with somebody from that scene, it was just from the back, and you didn't see them move, nothing. They're just there. So it's just a body double. And they have the American voiceover actors doing the voiceovers for it. So it's very jarring. I would recommend watching both. They're both good movies. They're technically the same movie, but not really the same movie. It's great if you're interested in Godzilla, where it started. I do have to advise, because they are black and white, it can be a hard thing for some of the more modern viewers to watch. I do know that a lot of people, including some of my friends, can't watch black and white films. So, that's fine. If you don't want to watch them, you don't have to, but it's a good one to see where it started off at. Some interesting facts about it. Godzilla's skin in the original was meant to look like radiation burn skin because of the nuclear explosions. It was very much a political film with that. It was meant to show the dangers of using the nuclear weapons and the damage it could cause. Godzilla, I believe, is a living embodiment of nuclear destruction, which would make sense. But 2-for-1 movies, yay, Godzilla. Anyway, I'm gonna do a couple more of these. I'm not going to do necessarily in order. I'm probably just going to pick and choose ones I think are important to the series. My cats are going crazy. Ones that I think are important to the series that you need to see. This one, the Godzilla, Gojira, and Godzilla King of Monsters, is important because the way the timeline works is pretty much every other movie is a sequel to this. Some cases there's a movie between them. Other cases it's a direct sequel. There even is an actual sequel that came out right afterwards called Godzilla Rides Again, or Raids Again, depending how the DVD has it. But yeah, I hope you guys enjoyed the review and the animations. I would recommend this movie very highly. It's not a perfect movie by any means, but it's the birth of probably my favorite franchise. So, it's going to be good. Alright, well, thank you guys for watching, and remember, always follow your dreams. Peace, peace. Hey guys, thanks for watching the video. If you enjoyed it, go ahead and hit that like and subscribe button down below. The thumbs up would be the like, or you can do the thumbs down. Be honest with yourself, it's cool with me. I do have a merch store up. I do have items on there that are available. I'm trying to get it updated. It's been a minute since I've been able to update it though, but I'm hoping to have some more up there soon. So if you want to support the channel and get some cool stuff, go ahead and go down there and buy some stuff there if you would like. If not, if you still want to support the channel, financially at least, there is a donation button down below as well. Anything helps. Trying to keep the dream alive. Thank you guys.